right, all this week we're helping you get back into the swing of things for nothing else but back to school. It is August after all. New this morning, we're taking a look at some of the big changes in store for Warwick schools. Right now, we're joined this morning by WPRI.com reporter Dan McGowan. Dan, always good to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.
An hour ago at 6:30, we took a look at declining enrollment specifically around Rhode Island compared to nationally. But now we want to look a little more closely at Warwick. They've seen a lot of declines, big numbers there in students dropping now. Eventually, that means some schools will have to close.
That's right. The important thing to know about Warwick is the changes that are being made in that city are a long time coming. 22%, they've seen a 22% drop in enrollment over the last decade, one of the largest in the state. And what that is, basically, they hired a consultant to look at, how empty are our schools. They found 40% of classrooms are vacant in the city of Warwick. So that's a lot of upkeep, in millions of dollars in spending in terms of, everything that goes into that for empty space. And so that's why they're moving forward with the plans.
There is a lot happening in Warwick. What is going on in the school district?
Sure. So the one and very important thing to know is that nothing is happening this school year, right? So, no one's waking up in September and going to the wrong school or anything like that. But we're seeing the plan is to initially close 2 middle schools, Gorton and Aldridge Middle School. You're going to convert Warwick Vets, the high school, into a middle school. This will eventually happen potentially as soon as next school year. And then long term, there's a plan to potentially close between 4 and 6 elementary schools.
That's probably the one that we will hear a lot from parents about. Obviously, that's a touchy age to change that. How would we even start the process of learning which schools, elementary schools, would be closed?
Yeah, that's definitely something that I think Warwick officials are really anticipating. That's kind of the second phase. They went through this whole public process to decide on how to approach the middle school process and the high school process. Now they're saying, we're going to look at a bunch of factors. One thing that could be very controversial is I sat down with the interim superintendent, William Holland. He said performance could be a factor. So they could look at how test scores look, things like that. That's going to be something that's going to be worth paying attention to.
And the big thing to point out, of course, not talking about this year.
That's right.
We're in the clear for this year. This is all future. Dan does great work. He's really good at breaking down the numbers that the rest of us say, well, I don't even know how to figure this out. So Dan has all this work he's been looking at on our website. You can see it at WPRI.com. Dan, always great to see you with us.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much. And of course, our in-depth back to school coverage, it continues all day. In fact, coming up at 8 o'clock today, we're finding out how much it will cost you to send your child back to the class. I'm guessing you already know it's a pretty high number. New at 9 on the Road Show, tips to get your child back into the school routine. Always tough to change after summer. And then starting live at 5, we'll tell you about the uptick in student enrollment in the state's largest district. Those stories, plus all the day's breaking news, all of it later on Eyewitness News.